Welcome back to Create a Life You Love. Today, we're going to go over emotional intelligence and the whole purpose of using your emotional intelligence and how you can use it to your advantage to really start to boost your life, the things that you're doing, really the way that you're focusing. So, if you are a follower of Neville Goddard, you've probably heard that he talks about being indifferent and controlling your mood. And a lot of times when people first get started out, that controlling of the mood can actually create like a mental battlefield. And it can be really difficult to figure out not only what does that mean, but how to incorporate that into your own life. And today, I don't know that this content will be super long, but I do want it to be very insightful and for you to put a lot of thought into your own emotional intelligence and the way that you're behaving. Now, one of the big things, though, before we get started, is I want to make it clear that none of your emotions are actually negative. Every emotion that you have is a key insight into your current state, the way that you're feeling, the behaviors that you have, the beliefs that you have, and where you're really dwelling. And they can actually be used completely to your advantage when you stop looking at them as negative and instead start looking at them with curiosity. Where am I focusing? What am I doing? And how can I change it so that I'm better aligned with this person that I want to be? If you did the first three videos, then you know that we talked about your own personal habits, increasing gratitude in the way that you're spending your day, and actually also defining what it is that you want. So when you take a look at the person that you want to be and you realize, okay, this is the habits that I would have on a daily basis if I were that person. If I was living the life that I want, doing the things that I want, had this external thing in my life, this is how I would behave. These are the habits and the actions that I would continue on a day-to-day basis. And that's what we're still going to focus on now is how to use your own emotional regulation and emotional intelligence to make sure that you can remain indifferent and start to, or I guess, learn how to not allow your emotions to push you all over the place. The more that you can learn how to take a moment, center yourself, understand your identity, understand where you're coming from, and have a focus on the things that you still want and not allowing these events to kind of wash you around like you're a boat in some crazy seas, the better off you'll be and the faster things will happen for you. So, the first core of this is understanding that all of your reactions are stemming from your identity. There is nothing that is not important to you that's going to have you react. So, if you're attempting to change something within your life, that change that you're looking for, the current state that you have, is based on the identity you hold of yourself, the beliefs that you have, the things that you think are true, the feelings that you continue to come back to and to dwell in, what you have accepted as truth. So when you take a step back and you say, okay, I want to go ahead and change this. I want to focus on a new reality for myself. You're going to want to pay attention to what your actual identity is. Like, what is your belief around this? And essentially, you can do that by your reactions. So let's say that you are looking for a love in your life and you message that person and you notice that they open the message and read it, but don't respond to you and they leave you on read. Is your initial reaction, oh my gosh, they hate me. I feel so stupid for sending that. They must be out with somebody else. I can't believe that I'm doing this. Or is your reaction like, oh, I wonder what happened. It's kind of weird and just moved on? That's going to show where you're stemming from, what your beliefs are. If you are looking from a money standpoint and you see a pair of sunglasses in the store and they're $100, and your first thought is, oh, who would spend $100 on a pair of sunglasses? That's coming from your idea of wealth. Now, here's the other thing. Your identity could also be that you feel like wealth should be spent on something different than $100 for sunglasses. But I'm just using this as an example. You have to realize how the reactions and your feelings and those kind of knee-jerk gut reactions, what they mean to you and what they're showing to you. Because I can tell you, like, I have people in my life who read my messages and don't respond to me. And I can tell you exactly my feeling and belief around that person that is continuously reflected back to me. I can tell you that my feeling for myself is not one that just because somebody reads my message and doesn't respond, that I'm not worthy or they don't care about me or they wish that I would just disappear off the face of the earth. That's my belief and my identity. And so you can use these reactions to see where you're coming from. What is your self worth? What is your concept of yourself? And use it for curiosity. So when you have this feeling, lean into it. Do I really believe this? Do I want to believe it? Is it aligned to the person in the life that I want to have? If not, what would be? And then you can kind of start to shift your focus back onto this what would be. Now, one of the best ways to control your own emotional reactions is through breath work. So, when something happens, you want to learn how to start training yourself to instead do a breathing exercise to calm yourself down. So, if something happens and you feel that kind of rush, that anger, that upsetness, jealousy, sadness, whatever feeling it is that you don't want to continue to entertain, whatever that feeling is, whatever that feeling is, I want you to take a moment and do a very big, deep breath in through your nose. Hold it at the top for about a second and then release it slowly through your mouth. It should really only take one, but sometimes I do a couple in a row. So it's going to look something like this: deep breath in. And I recommend that you take a moment now and let's do it together. Deep breath in. You should be able to physically feel yourself relax. Like, I can actually tell that my voice has slightly shifted. I have calmed down. I am much more relaxed than I was even just a moment ago. And the more that you do this in moments of high stress or overwhelming feelings, then the more that you'll be able to do those when it comes up. Like, you're training yourself essentially how to do that. And so the other thing that I want you to do is get out a piece of paper. There's not actually a workbook that goes along with this segment, but get out a piece of paper and I want you to write in the middle just a circle that says me. And then from outside of that, you'll do another circle and then another circle and another circle around it. So essentially, you've got your me in the middle, circle, bigger circle around it. And I want you to write the things that are most important to you that you really feel are true to your identity now, close to that center me. So mine would be like my children, my family, my belief that I'm a good parent, that I'm raising good humans, the home that I live in, that I really love my house. Like, that would be really close to me. On the outskirts of that is probably going to be things like political parties. Like, I don't get into political arguments. I have very strong beliefs about, human rights and etc. But when it comes down to somebody else having a political party that they follow, that they can have an intelligent conversation about, I'm not somebody to go online and attack them. That is far outside my realm of what's important to me. Now, what I have noticed though is like safety in the car is very, very important to my me when I have my children in the car, because of course I feel like my children are being threatened. If it's just me, I'm much more likely to kind of wave it off and be like, holy crap, like you're an idiot driver. But I'm not going to be as affected as I would be if my children were in the car. And so you can start writing out a bunch of different stuff, whether it's your pet, whether it's your belief on religion, whether it's your belief on how the world works, global warming, etc. Like everything, and just start writing it out. And what you'll start to find is that the stuff that is closest to your center me is what you hold closest to your own personal identity. It's the way that you see yourself. It's the things that are going to be much more important to you and much more likely to trigger a response in you. But you also have to be honest. So, this is not the time to write down the affirmations that you're trying to change. So, when you are looking at this, if your identity is someone who is not loved by Joe Smo, then that's part of your identity. You're holding that close to your heart. And when you get confirmation of that, you're going to get upset. Your emotional reaction is going to say, I knew it. And you're powering that attention. You're giving more focus to it. And so this is part of that emotional intelligence, is understanding where you're actually coming from. And the less that you identify these emotions as negative and as ones that you just cannot have, or that you're fighting against, or that you're feeling like you can't do, the more that you're actually giving them attention. Because every part of you that is screaming out, that's saying, hey, we got to pay attention, it's because it's trying to protect you. There is no bad part of you. There's only parts that think they're doing the best for you. Because as our survival instincts kick in, everything is for what we think is our greater good. So even when you're like, well, this is not my greater good, freaking hate the way that this is going for me, your mind and your body is still thinking it's doing something for your greater good. It still thinks that it's protecting you in some kind of way. And when you see it like that, as like this overprotective friend who thinks that they have to scream at the top of their lungs for you to pay attention and not go do whatever the heck it is you're about to go do, it's easier to provide yourself some forgiveness. And the more curiosity you lean in, the better. Like the more that you really start asking yourself, what do I believe right now? And be honest, what belief do I have that I want to change? What is preventing me from living the life that I want to lead? What is preventing me from having these things that I want to have? What am I telling myself? What is the story that I'm telling myself? And you can start paying attention too to like the way that you talk to yourself in the morning. What are your thoughts before you go to bed? And the more curious you get about it, the more you lean into understanding how you're working and where your beliefs are, the better. But it does start with emotional intelligence. And so there's three parts to this, right? Learning breath work, definitely. Understanding what you hold close to yourself now and starting to ask yourself with the curiosity, do I want to hold this close? Like if your political affiliation has you spending an hour online every day fighting with people, ask yourself, is this something I want to own? Is this something I want to continue? And only you can answer. I'm not telling you you're wrong or right, but ask yourself, do I want to actually continue this? Is this something that I want to do? And then the third part that we just went over is being really curious, which we just talked about a little bit. But start asking yourself the questions. Do I believe this? Do I want to entertain this? What is something that I would rather be considering right now? And these are all ways that you can start to kind of shift your mindset away from the problems, stop giving them so much attention and so much focus, and instead really start to lean into who do I want to be? How do I want to feel? What are the things that I want to do? And then you want to go back all the time to your gratitude list. So, in the last video, I talked about ways to naturally increase your gratitude. You want to go back to that. You want to continue to increase your gratitude, to do things that are good for you, that you enjoy, that you love, that feel nice for you. So, I hope that that was helpful. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comments. There'll be another video coming out. So I still have more content. And then, of course, make sure you check out my podcast. If you are new here, please definitely subscribe so that you don't miss any of the upcoming content. I am really excited to get this like full course put out. And I appreciate hearing from you all. So have a wonderful week.